Well, good morning, everyone. Pastor Corey Rowland here with Yorkshire First Midvale and Newport Global Methodist Church, bringing a devotional today out of the book of Psalm. In Psalm 123, the entire chapter, "Unto you I lift my eyes, O you who dwell in the heavens. Behold, as the eyes of the servant look to the hand of their master, as the eyes of the handmaid to the hand of her mistress, so our eyes look to the Lord our God until he has mercy on us. Have mercy on us, O Lord, have mercy on us. For we are exceedingly filled with contempt. Our soul is exceedingly filled with the scorn of those who are at ease, with the contempt of the proud." So here the psalmist is praying to the Lord for relief. You know, we're not really told what this situation is that they're praying about, but for whatever reason, they are being surrounded with contempt. Their souls are being filled with the scorns of those who seem to have it easy in life and with the contempt of the proud. You know, does it ever seem like sometimes the wicked have the upper hand? You know, here the psalmist is writing, you know, he's the godly one. He's the one who's asking the Lord and seeking him for deliverance, and he's the one who's struggling. You know, he talks of the people who scorn him, that their life is at ease. They're at ease. They're not struggling. They're not worrying. There's nothing that's overwhelming them. You know, they seem to have it easy. And we don't have to look too far in our day to day to see examples of the wicked who just seem to have all the breaks. The wicked who just seem to have things easier in life. It is often the Christian who is suffering. It is often the Christian that is burdened. It is often the Christian that comes under attack. Why? Because the Bible tells us that Satan is the prince of the power of the air. The Bible tells us that the world system, the unseen powers of this world, are controlled by Satan. And if he can keep the wicked and the people of this world happy and at ease and fat and happy, for lack of a better word, then they're never going to look to the Lord. They're never going to look anywhere else because they have everything that they could ever imagine. All their physical desires are met. They are full of pride and they have a life of ease. And so this matter, this contempt, this scorn that this psalmist is revealing here has brought him to prayer. And I love how he starts. I am going to lift up my eyes. I'm going to lift up my eyes to the Lord, unto you, O you who dwell in the heavens. And then he gives the example of the servant who looks to the hand of the master and the maid who look to the hands of her mistress. And these examples are really just saying, Lord, I'm not going to question you. I'm just going to keep my eyes on you. You know, there's not a lot of room for the servant or the maid to question or even argue with their masters or mistresses. There wasn't a whole lot of room for debate for the servant to give his 2 cents or the maid to give her 2 cents. Pretty much servants and maids had to do what they're told. And the psalmist is using this example to say, Lord, just as the servant looks to the hand of the master, just as the maid looks under the hand of her mistress, and you know, these are the hands that yes, provide for the servants and the maids. These are the hands that provide and care for the servants and the maids. And, you know, I know we can get into an ethical debate over servitude or slavery. And, you know, that's for a different topic. I will say the Bible does not endorse slavery. It's not an owner's manual for slave owners. But that's a different story. But the hands of the master and the mistress would often be used to provide and care for their maidservants and their servants, and would provide a place for them to live. And yes, they were expected to serve the master or the mistress. You know, that was part of the arrangement. But these hands weren't hands of schooling. They weren't hands of punishment. They were often hands of provision, or hands to provide for their needs. But the servant and the maid, they were dependent upon the master. They had to look to the master for all that they needed. They had to look under the hands of the master and the mistress for all that they needed. And this is exactly what the psalmist is saying. I'm going to look to you, O Lord. So our eyes look to Yahweh, our God, until he has mercy on us. Look to Yahweh our God until he has mercy on us. You know, the psalmist is not going to look and focus on his problems. Of course, he names his problems. You can very clearly see that he has issues that he's naming. And I don't think there's anything wrong with naming our problems. But notice that that's not what gets his focus or his attention. His eyes immediately go back to the Lord, have mercy on us. Oh, Lord, have mercy on us. And he talks about his problem, but the thing he focuses on more is the Lord. Keep your eyes on the Lord. Keep your eyes on the one who will provide for you. Keep your eyes on the one who will have mercy for you. You know, I know that sometimes our anxieties, our worries, our problems, they can overwhelm us. I know sometimes we begin to question, Lord, what's going on? Lord, what are you doing? You know, we might not know what's going to happen next week or even tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but we know the one who does know that. And so we don't focus on all of the doubts or all of the worries that seem to pop up. We keep our eyes on the Lord, for he is the one who's going to have mercy on you. So my message for today is simple. Keep your eye on the Lord,